Oregon has a lot of strange shit going on. It's a big state with a lot of untamed mountain passes and deep gorges, some of the oldest cities on the west coast, and hundreds of thousands of miles of dense forest that literally never sees daylight due to the size of some of the trees. I have a story to share that I think you gentlemen might appreciate. Be me. I was living in rural Oregon, just east of Salem. I was just chilling, watching TV shows. I hear my dog wanting to go outside. Okay, whatever. Leash, flashlight, shoes. It's really loud outside tonight. Coyotes and neighbors' cows are going insane. Dogs are barking, etc. My stoic German shepherd does not care. She instead wanders out into the yard, does her business, and then comes over to check on me. I am puffing on a cigarette and scrolling through my phone. My dog suddenly turns and looks into the woods. She absolutely beelines towards this large forested area at the north side of the property, dragging me with her. The woods are about 20 acres of 100 plus foot tall Douglas firs and hemlocks, thick underbrush of blackberries and alder and stuff. It's very difficult to see into, even during the daytime, due to the massive ass canopy. My hound stops about 20 feet away from the fence line, starts growling. I scan the woods with my light. I can't see shit. I hear something. Stomp, crunch, pause. I turn my flashlight towards the noise. I still can't see shit. I catch some slight eye shine, but it could have been dew reflecting on a leaf too. That's what I thought, until the second eye starts reflecting back. They start moving towards me. My dog is going nuts. She is barking like she is being killed. I still cannot make out what this thing actually is. It takes another couple of steps. It is not bothered by the 75-pound German shepherd screaming at it. The dog stops barking for a second and just stares at it. She tucks her tail between her legs. She starts pulling the leash back towards the house. Then it says something. Meow meow. Holy fucking shit, dog, what the hell is that? It sounds like a grown man wearing a stained fursuit trying to sound like a cat. I decide that my dog has good judgment right now. We bolt back inside. I unleash the dog and grab my closest rifle. It's my grandpa's Remington 742 with a fixed power scope, 3006. Won 2 world wars or something, so it can save my ass. I realize just how stupid the people on this website are for pretending that old rifles are somehow good in the modern day. I go back outside. The dog refuses to follow me. I walk the 100 yards back over to the fence. It literally smells like a homeless camp all of a sudden. Smells like wet diapers, rotten food, cigarette smoke. Oh shit, I dropped my cigarette. I reach down to pick it up. Crunch, stop, crunch. It's still fucking here. I shoot an antique 3006 round off into the woods. Probably should have been in a museum. Silence. I look around with the light. I still cannot see anything. It still smells like shit. I go back inside and lock the doors. The next morning, I go and look around the fence line. The smell is gone completely. Nothing unusual at all in the woods. I still don't know what happened or what that was. This happened maybe 2 to 3 years ago. I live in southern West Virginia and have for my entire life. The woods and mountains surround every direction that you look in. The nighttime here is a darkness that you can never even dream of unless you have experienced it firsthand. I was with a friend. I will call him A. A was at my house one evening. We were just hanging out, doing the usual things. It was extremely late when we finally got bored and decided to go for a walk on a nearby trail to smoke a joint. This is not a particularly long trail, but it is very dense in the woods that surround it. It is also very easy to get freaked out when thinking of your surroundings. We finally get to about halfway into the trail, which is about 30 minutes in. This is where we stopped, packed our joint, and stood on the trail to chill and talk. The forest is very alive on this night. There were always noises in the woods, but the amount of animal activity for the time was strange. At this point, it was probably past 1 a.m. This was strange and kind of eerie, but not alerting, as any sort of predatory animal in the area may cause a disturbance. We finish smoking and continue on our walk, when almost immediately, the forest falls dead quiet, and as soon as the forest goes quiet, there is a voice. It almost sounds like a mocking, humanoid voice. It sounded shaky and uncertain. It was almost like an old children's toy, like the ones with the crackly speakers and robotic voice, if you know what I mean. Like when the battery starts to die, and it gets all fucked up and distorted. This immediately sets us off. We bolt directly down the opposite length of the trail, but the sound does not gain distance. It does not get closer, but no matter how far we ran down the trail, the eerie voice remains the same volume. It just kept going over and over, with no quieting or stopping. At this point, I am convinced that we are in genuine danger, which is something that I have felt very few times in my life. Finally, after sprinting for who knows how long, we exit the trail, gasping for breath and almost on the verge of tears because of how frightening this was. We begin to exit the trail, and about 5 minutes from the exit, there is a bone-shaking, heart-stopping, murderous scream from directly behind us. I know what mountain lion scream sounds like, and this was not one of them. This was not an animal. This was not someone playing or watching a movie. This scream sent birds flying from nests and made my heart drop into my stomach. It was the most genuinely depraved and violent scream that I have ever heard. This is a true story that I have only told to maybe 3 people, all of whom seem to brush it off as false. I've never been a person to push for the existence of the paranormal or spiritual, but I genuinely believe I encountered something inhuman in those woods. I know I will receive questions, such as what the voice was possibly saying, or to explain the area and what happened after. I genuinely cannot remember what the voice was saying, if anything intelligible at all. I don't know if I could understand it then, and I certainly cannot recall understanding it after several years of blocking it out of my memory. All that I recall is that it was a voice fluctuating in pitch, shaking, almost just joining sounds together. After running from the scream at the end of the trail, we ran to the car, which was only about 5 more minutes from the trail, so we got there relatively fast from sprinting. When I was in the army, I was on a training drill stationed in Fort Bragg. We were going out for 3 days and 2 nights to work on radio procedures. Since it was the back 40, we did not take rifles, but we had guards because 1, safety, and 2, people going off to get drunk, and 3, other units fucking with you, and 4, it's the army, you have guards. There were plenty of people, so we had 2-hour shifts, and the perimeter was broken up into 4 areas. My area was mostly along a dirt road. I would be behind a verge of brush and a ditch, and the space across the road was about 10 meters of open grass and then pine forest. I had glanced over the area in the day, but whatever. My shift was 12 to 2 at night. I grabbed some sleep and got up to relieve Bob in plenty of time. It was a night, not too chilly for September. There was an almost full moon but a lot of clouds, so the light was changey. I started walking back and forth along my area. Every now and then, I would see one of the other 2 guys from the other 2 spots, and the sergeant of the guard checked on me about 1:15 or so. Just another night of army training. I checked my watch and saw I had 20 minutes left, when something moved on the other side of the road. It was enough movement that I froze and started looking for what caused it. I could tell that there was something on the other side of the road, and it might be moving, but I could not make it out. I wasn't scared, but I felt someone watching me and figured that it was a guy from another unit, maybe even one of our lieutenants, bored, trying to test the perimeter. As the clouds got thinner, the thing that I saw looked like a man standing there, staring at me the same way I was staring at him, but really, really tall and thin. I figured that the light was confusing me, and that since I was behind the brush, he could not tell exactly where I was. I can't really explain it now, but my instinct was to freeze and just wait to see what happened. So I stood there, looking just a little to the side to watch for movement in the dark for what seemed like a long time. Then I heard my relief, Rick, coming up behind me. I heard him realize something was up when he just stopped walking up and quietly slid up next to me. "You see that?" I whispered. Is that a fucking guy?" "Maybe, I can't tell." "Well, you go left and I'll go right and we'll see." We crashed through the brush together and walked across the road, flanking whatever it was. A moment later, the moon came out and boom, it was an old dead tree about 9 feet tall. Some broken branches and such vaguely looked like shoulders and long arms. We walked around it, met on the other side, and laughed a little. Dude, I cannot believe I stared at a tree for half an hour. It was creepy without the moon. We went back across the road, and I went to bed. Next day, we were all eating breakfast when Rick started teasing me about being afraid of the tree. Scott, who was the last guard in our area, asked what we meant, so we told him the story. Scotty looked at us and said, "There's no tree over there." Rick and I tell him to stop fucking with us, but we all go and look together. There is no tree. You can even see where Rick and I crossed the dirt and walked through the grass. In the middle though, no fucking tree. Just a little, empty patch of grass. No damn idea. Reliving these glory days is making me want to get fucked up again. This one actually landed me in jail. Be me. I was 14 years old at the time this happened. Me, my foster brother, and my best friend are planning to burglarize a world market in our hometown, not too far away, to get some expensive wine, but really to make a statement. At the time, there was a lot of hype about police brutality and laziness, so we wanted to make a statement about how shitty they are. The world market was literally right behind the police station. We planned the escape route and took some painkillers just in case of harm and headed out. We arrive at the store at about 11 o'clock. Foster bro breaks the window. I am lookout. Best friend and him go inside. We are all wearing masks, and they immediately run to the back and start piling up wine and shit in their backpacks. We hear someone yell stop. Shit. It later turned out to be an off-duty security guard, just now heading home, but he saw us. The cops are now on their way. Very proud of Foster bro and friend, they were in and out in less than 3 minutes, backpacks full of shit. There is a very large plot of land for sale that had brush and blackberries and trees and shit next to the store. We run in as planned, and cops soon after set up a perimeter of 7 to 8 cop cars around the plot of land. It was like an acre or so of forest area that, if we made it out, led to a main street. We are trenching through, getting cut up and fucked up by blackberries. It was too late though. We absolutely had to wait it out and hide good. There on the megaphone, "Come out with your hands up. You are surrounded, you fucking shits." 14-year-old me is frightened as fuck, but persists into the foresty area. We hear dogs now, and we can only hope that the mixture of rain and the smell of this area can mask our scent. We can now hear cops hacking away with machetes, closing in on us. I got terrified. I thought I was gonna get bit. Me and my friends start discussing quietly whether to come out or keep hiding, afraid that we are gonna get our asses kicked and end up in juvie for fucking years. We come to an agreement to come out with hands up, thinking it's futile. The cops' mind games worked. We might have been able to avoid them, maybe not, but we should have tried, looking back on it. We come out with hands raised and guns on us, both of us, kicked to the ground. Foster bro is still inside, hiding. They tell us they know that there was one more, even though we deny it, and now they're gonna get us on obstruction of justice too. Friend reveals Foster bro's last name and our home address. He ends up coming out as they call him by his first and last name, and no, if he doesn't, he will have to dodge a warrant until the statute of limitations is up. Is that how it works? I'm just guessing. I get interviewed. The cops ask me if we've done this before, as we came prepared. You had gloves, knives, masks. You took painkillers in case of injury. You guys seem like you might have done this before. No sir. We just wanted to be prepared for our first time. We actually wanted to make a statement that you guys couldn't do it. And, well, you got us. Huh. He smirks, kind of admiring my honesty and ego boost for him. We talk about whose idea it is to place blame, and I say it was all me, to try and protect my buds. He does not buy it for a second. Foster bro ends up being accused of being a manipulator type, and they place the blame all on him. Combined, we all committed a couple of misdemeanor felonies. It's been so long, but I think it was conspiracy to commit a crime, theft ×2, criminal mischief, and burglary to a degree I do not remember. We all, and I shit you not, we all get off on community service because of how kind and innocent we seemed in the interviews. At least, that's my guess anyway. Me and my friend got 24 hours of community service with no jail time. Foster bro got 120 and had to be monitored as they thought he was gonna end up being a cult bro dude due to manipulating youth. Trust me, I understand the stupidity of this crime, but had we pulled it off, it would have been amazing, at least in 14-year-old me's head. We were in the newspaper. You can try and find it. I think they called us the Booze Bandits or some shit, not even kidding. I eventually got it removed from my record after my community service. You won't find my name. You might find the newspaper online though. It was the biggest adrenaline rush of my life. Super fucking stupid though. Okay, I have one last story. This one is less exciting but still a close-ass call. Be me. I think I was 19 years old at the time this one happened. I was a major alcoholic and loved drugs. Not so much anymore, but back then, I would do anything. Anyways, I am walking 10 miles across town with a friend to go to a vulnerable store that is easy to steal from. It's pissing fucking rain. We are soaked and are the only people outside walking across the whole town. A cop has been trailing us for the past mile or so before we reach our destination, a Winco. Any West Coasters know Winco is huge and super easy to steal from. Anyways, we get inside, plan on taking some sake, but the cop actually gets out of his car and follows us inside. Store secret shoppers are now tailing us too. I grab a reusable bag because, if you didn't know, if you have one or grab one and rip the tag off, it's super fucking easy just to pile shit inside of it and walk out and they think you paid for it. Knowing we're being watched, we pile shit in the bag anyways. Food, some sake, Taco Bell hot sauce because why the fuck wouldn't you? The secret shopper now musters up enough courage to ask us what we're doing. We say we're going to pay and not to worry. We see the cop accompanying him. They know what the fuck is going on and they are just waiting. So now we know we're fucked. We can place the bag on the ground and walk out and we can't really be arrested for that. We are stupid though, so we did not do that. We both book it out the doors and they hit the security button or whatever that closes and locks the doors, but like an action movie, we make it out right before they close. The cop is now pissed because they have to wait for unlock and use emergency latches to open, which buys us time. We now have got some good distance, but the cop has eyes on us the whole time and he gets into the cruiser. This is my favorite part. I love this. He tries to be Superman and pulls out super fast, whipping around, but he spins out of control and hits a never parked car in the parking lot, buying us even more time. He has now completely lost vision of us, and we are out in a mini-mall area behind a store. We call a friend to come and pick us up in exchange for booze and Taco Bell hot sauce. We win. The cop loses. I am now 22 and have not committed crimes since I was 20. But goddamn, there is no better feeling than getting away from the fucking cops. This one isn't really paranormal, but it's still a spooky thing that happened to me. Be a doctor on night shift. It's around 2 AM. It was a busy night, so I just want to go to sleep. The night nurse calls. Anon, I need you on the ward right now. I ask what's up. Please just come. Fuck. The nurse is kinda cute, so whatever. Might as well do the night round on the stroke ward how I'm actually supposed to. The bedrooms for the night shift doctors are in the basement. The ward is on the 4th floor. I go to the elevators. The piece of shit stingy hospital turns off the lights at night to save on money. I wait there in the dark. The elevator arrives. It's a piece of shit old elevator. The doors slowly open. The light in the elevator is flickering like a cheap horror movie. The fucking janitor should get his shit together. It's slightly spooky, but like hell I'm taking the stairs at 2 AM. I take the elevator up to the ward. The nurse is standing in front of a room, obviously spooked. There are weird scratchy noises coming from the inside. She is too afraid to look for herself. I gotta be a man. I gotta be brave. I open up the door. An old lady is crawling on the floor and scratching against the door with her nails. Commence heart attack. Apparently, Granny just forgot that she's paralyzed and wanted to go to the toilet, so instead of calling for help, she crawled to the door and started scratching. I help her back to bed. I do my round, examine some patients. One room had 2 new patients. Let's call them Bob and Bill. Bob had a stroke and became almost blind from that. Bill also had a stroke, but wasn't that badly affected, but he was quite senile. Bob sits in bed when I get into the room. "Doc, I'm all better. I can see again." In doubt.exe, I ask him what he saw. My wife is sitting there, but she's missing her head. Okay, that's kinda fucked up. I tell him to go to sleep and turn around. Bill stands right behind me in the dark room. I did not hear him at all. I shit bricks. He's right. I saw her too. She was missing her head though. Well, fuck this. You both go to sleep right now. One more room to go. One more room to go. There is this sole, crazy old guy. Let's call him Buck. When I get in, Buck is crawling under his bed with his phone's flashlight like he's looking for something. Did you drop something, Buck? I'm looking for the hole where the little men came out from. They took Bob's wife's head. Fuck this shit. I nope out of there. The nurse is not that cute anyway. I prescribe a sedative for each of them and go back to my room. I lie down, still spooked but mainly tired. The toilet starts flushing all on its own. I'm not even spooked anymore. I'm just pissed off. I yell, "Fuck off. I am going to sleep." The flushing stops. I go to sleep. Nothing spooky after that. It's kinda weird how all of that happened in the same shift. Hey, hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment because it lets YouTube know you like the content and helps more people to see these videos. My next big goal for the channel is 100,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I will be doing a Q&A video once we hit that goal. Thank you, and back to the stories. Alright, so this is my first time telling it. Not necessarily that scary, but still creepy, you know what I mean? Be me. Grade having a summer meeting before senior year starts. I talk to a guy named Pablo I have not seen in a while. After a while, I bring up the idea of a geocaching club, operating at night for fun. Pablo says it's a cool idea. He is bored and has to take the bus home, so why not do it tonight? After the grade meeting, we go to 7-Eleven and wait for darkness. We go up a path leading to a park that has the closest geocache, already scared shitless. It's complete darkness. We use a phone as a flashlight. We are walking up the asphalt path. The flashlight only reveals what is directly in front of us. You go first, Pablo. You have the flashlight. We walk for about 10 seconds and decide that it's too fucking dark. We turn around and start walking fast back to the nearest street. Two guys pop out of the darkness, lighten the mood by saying they took acid and are looking for a wallet. Feeling good. We decide to enter the park from the lower entrance down the street. Easier to reach the geocache site that way. Didn't account for the fact that it's rough terrain, surrounded by trees and more darkness. Pablo uses his phone for a flashlight, while I use mine for the geocaching app. We head into the path. Recent storm makes it rougher and dirtier than normal. It's pitch black outside. We start walking with the flashlight on. Same problem of who should go first. Pablo goes behind, but picks up a big stick. We are both scared shitless. Apparently, he accidentally started recording, instead of just using a flashlight. We sense ourselves being watched, but keep on going. The geocaching app says we are on the prize, nowhere to be seen. Pablo turns around to head back, and it's pitch darkness behind me. Oh shit, just the atmosphere scares me. I start running back to the entrance. Pablo runs after me. We are both terrified. A week later, Pablo tells me he was accidentally recording and shows the video literally off of his smartphone, no editing. There is a fucking human-like creature with black eyes hiding in the bushes and watching us. What? We decide to go back in the daylight to make sense of it. Nothing is even remotely similar to the figure in the video. Anon, it's just a pumpkin. No, it isn't. It's the middle of August in Virginia. There's no fucking pumpkins outside. Anon, it's just a log. No, it's not. Still to this day, I don't know what the fuck happened that night. We searched for geocache in daylight with 5 people and never found it. This is my only supernatural encounter, but Jesus, it gives me chills to think that this shit is real in some sense. I saw an Anza Borrego ghost light a few months ago. It's not the spookiest of stories, but it is true. I am hiking with friends to the Goat Canyon Trestle. The hike itself follows 100-year-old railroad tracks down a gorge leading from the mountains at the top to the desert floor below, over about 20 miles. There are lots of abandoned train cars, cool tunnels, and sketchy railroad trestles to cross. The hike is technically trespassing because some company claims that it's going to get that railroad running again. Nobody gives a fuck because several companies have tried and failed thanks to inhospitable geology and weather. It's usually a pretty popular hike, but we went on a weekday, so we were the only ones out there. The first few miles are spent enjoying the scenery and getting enough courage to cross the janky old trestles. We fuck around in some old double-decker train cars, covered in surprisingly good graffiti. We get the fuck out of the train cars because the dust in there is pure nose fuckery. We continue on, see no other people, go through a few railroad tunnels. They are supported by huge redwood beams, which make these tunnels smell comfy as fuck. Have a pleasant walk through them by the light of a single good flashlight and 2 shitty ones. Get to the longest tunnel on the line. Research says about half a mile or so. It has big rusty gates at the entrance and a bunch of old railroad junk around. Very horror movie looking in the right light. It was noon, so spook factor was low. The tunnel curves, so you can't see the other end for the first bit. We are walking along when we see a light appear down towards the other end of the tunnel, much like someone turning a flashlight on for a second and then off again. We figure it's another group of hikers. Flash the bright light at them. No response. Think whatever and keep on walking. The light flashes again. We are getting closer to the end of the tunnel. There is light shining in at the end, but the flash came from a dark area. Don't see any people silhouetted against the light at the end of the tunnel. May have just been nerves, but we felt like we were being watched. Start hallucinating voices almost at the edge of hearing, also likely nerves. The light flashes randomly one more time and then stops. We are pretty spooked, but we are relatively skeptical folks and continued all the way to the end of the tunnel. Not a soul in sight. The trail is bordered by a very steep cliff to the right and Carrizo Gorge to the left. The trail is visible for a long way ahead. It's extremely unlikely that there were other hikers that ran off. Try to explain the light as a reflection and cannot find anything reflective anywhere. Remember stories of the Borrego ghost lights. A train conductor in 1977 saw a similar light flash on the tracks at night and ended up derailing a train. People have followed the lights into caves where they have seriously injured themselves. Get moderately spooked and continue on. No more lights, just a feeling of unease. Forget all that shit when we cross the 200 feet tall Goat Canyon Trestle and about crap ourselves. See nobody else on the trip, aside from a group of Boy Scouts starting to hike in a camp on our way out. Guess we believe in ghosts now. I am about 20 years old at the time this happened. I am basically homeless. My aunt offers me to stay in the summer cottage that belongs to my family. Cool, no rent. I spend summer in the family cottage. It's a 15-minute drive away from the nearest town. The place has no electricity, but it does have a diesel generator that powers the place, however, is loud as fuck. Organize and clean during the day. Sleep when it gets dark. Be completely alone. One day after being there for almost a week, I hear disembodied talking all around me. No biggie. Maybe some group of people walking nearby. At night I turn on the generator for lighting and charging my shit. Inside the fucking cottage, hear disembodied laughing. Like mischievous children or chipmunk effect laughing, and it sounds close. It's sometimes in different tones and at random intervals. Sometimes 5 cackles in a row. Sometimes one randomly followed by hours of silence. I believed it was the generator making vibrations in the woods. I told myself that to ease the nerves. Around 10 p.m., I turn off the generator. Complete silence. I can hear the wind cracking through the windows. The laughing returns, but this time, sounds like it's coming from outside. I decide to ignore it. Many weeks later, I see my aunt. I told her about the laughing and the generator. She tells me, "Oh my god, Anon, you hear them too." Hear what? The gnomes. She tells me that almost everyone has heard them, and kids can see them, and the whole forest is apparently infested with them. And Grandma said that if you are good, you can hear them, but you can only see them if you appear, but she calls them Duendes.